With the legalization of birth control, there were a lot of jobs marketing the pill in the late 60s, she noted. The only problem? You had to be big enough to carry heavy sample cases. And for Deborah, who stood at only 5'2" and weighed just over 100 pounds, that wasn't an option. A lot of doors were closed because I was too little, she told me. When Deborah saw a stunning woman stand on stage at a career fair at her university, talking about the death of the president of Costa Rica and explaining that it was her job to advise the U.S. president on whether we should recognize the new Costa Rican government, she was intrigued. Deborah began at the CIA months later and found it wasn't as glamorous as it sounded, at least not at first. The Vietnam War was getting hotter, and the agency's role was escalating. But instead of the exciting picture she painted in her head, Deborah was asked to alphabetize Vietnamese names. That was a big come-down, she told me. Once her SCI-TK, short for Sensitive Compartment Information Talent Keyhole, although it's broadly known in the intelligence community by its abbreviated form, clearance came through, she became involved in the Central Reference Service as what was essentially a glorified librarian, but she didn't mind. She had worked in libraries before and loved books. A woman named Anne Donahue, now in her 90s, also found herself in a mundane typing role in personnel when she entered on duty, but she finally broke out of it in the early 60s when she volunteered for a temporary duty assignment, or TDY, as a reports officer in Cairo. She became enthralled with the work and the idea of living overseas. When she returned to headquarters and once again found herself underutilized, she filled her time with training courses until the chief of Far East Division sponsored her to undergo operational training at the farm and receive her field tradecraft certification, also referred to as an aughts certification. She was one of 3 women in her farm class. The prevailing view at the time was that women couldn't be operations officers because they had families or would want to have families at some point, and the agency, read male CIA officers, didn't want to invest time and money into a woman who could get pregnant and leave the organization at a moment's notice. An actual personnel file from 1968 reads, "She's very bright and attractive, but she's young and very likely to get married and have children or get pregnant." They viewed hiring women of childbearing age as a waste. But it wasn't a waste. Women like Lucy and Janine found themselves in operations and were ready to put their training to good use.